All right, so what's up, y'all? So this is gonna be part two of the child support that ruined a millionaire. We were sitting here watching reaction with Just Pearly Things channel. I'm like I told you before, I watched both of them. I just thought it was a good mesh to go over with. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna get this started here, and we're gonna see what we can learn. Okay. All right.
If they're young enough, they won't know. They're like 2.
Yeah.
They're not gonna know what's going on.
Yeah. But if they're a little bit older, then
You gotta pay a babysitter. That's what actually that is what I would do. I'm very creative.
Go on,
right?
tell us
so
about
this,
that.
this is what I would do if I was a dude trying to get a kid. Okay, I'm very creative. I would get a babysitter. Okay, and I'm red pill, right? So I would make it her type. Whatever her type is, the babysitter, right?
So you get like a nice, handsome babysitter.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Okay.
Or a feminine woman. I don't know. Whoever. I'm gonna send more than one in. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna give her an event that she wants to go to. Right? I don't know what. I don't know how I would do it. This is just how I think. Okay.
Go on.
And so, and then I'd get her to like think she's invited to some fancy event, something a girl can't turn down. It doesn't have to be real.
I mean, this is elaborate right now, but go on, you know.
Look
Living in a movie,
look
but
it,
go
look
on.
it. You know me. I would make it happen.
All right, go on.
I would throw the event myself.
She'll turn up and she's the only one there.
but okay. And what I would do is I would get the babysitter to give me the kid. That's what I would do.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Or fine, it could be a third-party friend that she doesn't know about. I don't know. I would get. This is my third-party plan. If someone's struggling out there, you can see how that.
So yeah, the only thing I want to say about this right here is this is an insight in how women think. Like me as a man, I would not go through all those hoops and deceit just to see my children. It's a lot easier just to file paperwork, let the proceedings take, and then know when I am able to see them.
I mean, I wouldn't take Pearl's advice, guys. Do you know what I mean? To do that, but yeah.
I can't think of another option. What's your other option?
That was an elaborate plan.
Look, I think I'm onto something.
So here's how child support works. It's actually pretty simple, only based on a mathematical formula. How much money do you make and how much time you spend with the child. That's it. And it's an entirely different case than, say, divorce and custody. So, it doesn't really matter if the other person abducted the kid to Japan for whatever reason and just...
He's right somewhat when he says divorce and custody. Normally when you're married and you get divorced, custody is handled in divorce proceedings along with child support. Okay, but there is some people that get divorced that don't get custody of their children. Again, that's isolated situations. But for the most part, if you are single, have not married the mother at all, you don't have any custody to your child. Like I said, that's where you have to go establish that. You have to get custody first and get your time sharing worked out before you can get your child support calculated correctly. All right, that's a key step.
Just blocked all access. None of that really matters whether it's right or wrong. People just come and say, we don't care what happened. How much money do you make? And then we're going to have you pay a percentage of that. And so each state is a little bit different, but if you come into the guideline calculator...
I didn't know there was like a calculator.
Now he's about to go into an income calculator. Take the income calculator with a grain of salt, okay? Because every state has a different income calculator. But what I will say is that if you're on CSC child support, meaning you don't have your parental rights established yet, you're basically paying full price. You're paying the max of child support. And that's normally a third of your net income. And that's what assumption he came to as well. And when I look back at it, that is what I was paying as well. I made close to $80,000 a year when I first got put on child support, and my child support was around $1,200 a month. Now $80,000 a year net, I was only probably making about 55. Okay, so that's very accurate.
Calculator, yeah. California Child Support Services calculator.
Later for California, you can actually plug in some numbers and you'll see that, there's really two things that matter. How much money you make, we can put in, say, $70,000 per month, just as an example. And then the percentage of time that you spend with the child. So, if you spend 0% time, then you end up paying more. If you spend a lot of time, then you pay less. So let's say you spend 0% of the time, earn 70.
get pulled around in child support, because if she holds the kid from you and then goes to the child support court and says he spends 0 time with the kid,
then she gets money.
more money.
Yeah.
So even if she was holding the kid.
So basically, women are monetarily incentivized to keep the child away from the father.
Yes, they are monetarily incentivized to keep the child away. But again, if you had your rights established, you had court order established, that wouldn't be able to happen so easily with the child. The mother wouldn't be able to keep the child away from you, then go back to court and says, well, he doesn't see the child anyway, so I need more money to support him since he's not there, even though you really are there. You see, when you have court-ordered child support and the mother does not bring the child to you, you can file a motion of default. She did not follow through with the contract that you, her, and the judge have both seen, signed, and agreed to. Well, granted, even though it's not up to you what the judge decides as far as joint custody, but you still know what it is, okay? And you still have a way to prove and fight and leave a paper trail. Without that, just like they said, you're at the mercy of the mother and the judge.
Oh. That's crazy.
Let's say you spend 0% of the time, earn $70,000 per month. Based on that, you would pay $5,300 per month in child support. Now, if you were to spend 50% of the time with the kid, the calculation would be about $4,000 per month. So parents are actually incentivized to block access, to block as much visitation and take 100% time with the child in order to maximize the amount of money that they would receive. So this is an ugly reality, really posing a conflict of interest towards family values, and explains why many people say children are being used as pawns in family court to maximize financial value for one partner or the other. But regardless, if you ever find yourself in a situation like this, I would recommend to stay in the household. Don't just move out thinking you're going to get some peace for everybody and you'll figure it out later on, because the family court is going to maintain whatever that status quo is. If you want to stay with the kids and get some custody, you need to stay with them and just go back to that household, even if there's conflict. If the other person gets mad.
All right, so if y'all don't understand what he's saying right there, why not to leave the household, the way the government looks at it, and it's funny too, because you talk about the benefits of getting married and everything else, but the moment you leave that house, it doesn't matter if you're married or not. She is now considered a single parent. Okay, you're out the household, and now she is eligible for not only public assistance, but to come after you for child support. So what he's saying is that if you know your marriage is going to end, to stay in the house until all the legal proceedings are done, because it'll save you money. Because from the date you move out, she can get child support for the date that you moved out. And that's how you also get put into arrears as well to paying child support. So that's very good advice.
Start shouting, telling you to get out of the house. Just pull out your phone, record it. Don't touch them, and just continue recording, but don't vacate that house.
You see, he said continue recording. Again, that's because you have to have evidence, guys. Once you are in a legal battle, it's all about what you can prove. What you can prove. Not how you feel, not how they mama feel, not how your mama feels. Just what you can prove. So if you go in court and you go in there acting a fool, making all these accusations, and you don't have any proof for it, you're not going to get the desired outcome. So when you get these things established, keep records. Guys always ask me, well, how do I get the proof? Just like he said, record. Don't speak to the mother verbally. Only respond to her in email and text message. That way, if she doesn't respond and you can't pick up your child, when you do go to court, you can show this. She was like, oh, well, he didn't come and get the child. Well, I asked for the meet and you didn't respond. It will show that.
Wow. Don't vacate the house.
Wow. Because the guy thinks he's like doing a service to the kid by stopping the conflict.
Yeah.
But really, he's like doing the writing on the wall.
Yeah. Cross that finish line. but then some guys do cross the finish line.
I wanted to show you about child support. Let's say you make $10,000 per month. That's about $120K income per year, which is maybe typical for Silicon Valley. Based on that, you would be paying about $1,700 in child support, with a total of about $6,800 in take-home pay after the 30-some% tax rate. But really, child support comes out to about 25% of your net pay. In higher tax brackets, maybe it's anywhere from 15 to 20%, but in this range, it's 25%. Now, you need to consider also there's rent, right? Most people actually pay about 50% of their net income in rent, and this is based on those typical rent calculators, whether you're using the 40X.
I don't know if other people stay at, well, where you're watching this at, but I stay here in Tampa. And the rent here in Florida, period, but I know in Tampa, it's went up about 40%. I mean, it's absolutely astronomical. I think right now, if you wanted to get a 2 bedroom, you're paying no less than $1,400. If you want a 3 bedroom, you're close to $2,000. I mean, it's just child support in this. I mean, you're going to be in the poorhouse, guaranteed.
Rule where your annual income needs to be 40x monthly rent, or you're using the 30% rule where you're saying you can put 30% of your annual income into rent, but it all assumes you're putting about 50% of your after-tax income into rent. Child support will take another 25%, and then the last 25% you get. So really it's about half to say a third of your net disposable income that's going into child support. It's essentially the maximum amount that they can take from you for you to still be half motivated to continue working.
Again, it's the maximum amount, especially for him, because if he got divorced and then his wife took his child out of the country back over to Asia, then he never was able to establish his parental rights. So obviously his wife had to have a game plan. She had to know that if I'm going to leave him and I want to get maximum child support, I cannot allow him to establish any parental joint custody. So she hightailed it out of there. Now he can't reach her. Even if he wanted to establish joint custody, she has already filed for child support. She has already filed for the divorce. And in order for him to get joint custody, she would have to be able to come back over to U.S. Do you think she's going to come back over to the U.S.? Probably never see her again. Or if he do, his child's going to be grown. It's a terrible situation.
So what do you think now, Pearl? Do you think child support should just be scrapped?
This video is red pilling me a little bit. 'Cause I didn't realize exactly the behind the scenes of how it worked.
Yeah.
I understood a little bit, but yeah, this is convincing me even further it should be scrapped. What? I'm so tired of lazy girls. Like, get a job if you.
Again, my stance on child support is that there is a place for it, but it should not be put on a mother or a father by default by mechanisms that is out of their control. AKA meaning a mother goes in a file for public assistance, has no hard feelings with her father. They just don't make a lot of money, even combined. So they need extra help. But because he is in the household, she is forced to put him on child support to get public assistance. Okay? And the man probably is already paying, but they're going to make sure to burden him down like that is, like I said, it's broken. I think that if anybody should be able to go and file for child support for the other parent who is not taking care of their child, legitimately. But to just by default to do this, especially when the parents are getting along and the mother doesn't even want it, just needs help, it's just, like they say, it's incentivizing. It's incentivizing for the households to be split up. It's incentivizing for the mothers not to work and make much money. It's incentivizing for them to basically not want the father in the child's life whatsoever.
Pick to do it. Get a job.
I mean, look, we got a long way to go with this system. If the system's like this right now, there's a long way to go. Because this man's story is a million men's story.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's crazy too because I've heard, this is something I heard before. So, if you, let's say on YouTube tomorrow, you hit 1 million, right? This video goes viral, like the video. This video goes viral, you hit 1 million, you're making, let's say, 10 million, right?
Right.
Then the next, people fall off all the time on the internet.
Yep.
Yeah, people, money comes and goes.
Yeah.
So then, let's say the next year you only make 1 million, you still have to pay 25%.
2%.
And so you may, and so you could even get jailed for not paying that, but you don't have it.
Yeah.
And that's the number one way that NBA players go broke, is they get
child support.
Yes, they get the wrong girl pregnant, and so they have, because think about it, they're signed on these really big contracts.
Well, no, it's not because they get the wrong girl pregnant. It's because they get the wrong girls, plural, pregnant. And if you look at NBA or just athletes in general, normally when they retire, you always notice within a year they go back to court and get the child support modified. That's because child support is based off of what you're currently making. So you can get your child support modified, twice a year if you want to. But just know that you're going to have to sit there and go through court, resubmit the paperwork, pay the court fees each time you do that. So, and that'll also stop other parties who do that habitually and abuse that and is constantly using that as a form of intimidation to harass a father. Um, they're not going to be so quick to do that, knowing that they got to provide their own financial paperwork. They have to also pay court fees to do it, and so on. Okay, so and another thing, when you're on CSE child support, meaning you're with child support enforcement, not court ordered, the mother gets free representation from CSE, so they will have a lawyer there with them. You don't get nobody, so keep that in mind.
Tracks, and you know the NBA, it comes and goes like that. People can be cut.
Do you remember when I was talking about relationship contracts? Yeah? People thought I was joking, right? See, the mad scientist is now not looking so crazy. I'm not looking so crazy now. Not marriages,
I'm a girl.
Relationship contracts. I'm telling you.
You are making a little bit more,
I'm telling you.
are making a little bit more sense.
Now the crazy guys.
I'm going to fast forward through his relationship contract. I mean, he's essentially talking about things that you should do. Like I said, if you're mature enough to do it with your spouse, go to counseling before you get married, okay? You shouldn't have to make this contract up for a year before you get married and then go over it, because who's really going to admit to what they did and didn't do? I mean, that's the basic power struggle relationship. So, like I said, get a prenup, get married, and go on if that's what you choose to do. It'll be a lot easier. All right, let me just get back to him. All right.
You might be convincing me of it. I don't know.
And that's the other thing. Once you get a child support order on you, it may be very difficult to retire because people assume you're going to be bringing in this income year after year. And so if you suddenly say you want to just retire and stop working, people are going to say, no, you got to keep working. Why is your income dropping? You're capable.
Yeah, that's who we were talking about. He has to keep
up that.
Yeah.
And I had a similar thing that happened when I first got put on child support. You know, I was making between, I don't know, 60 to 80,000 a year. I was selling cars, and my child support was about $1,200 a month. But the thing was, when I was making that money, I never seen my kids. You know, I was working 10 to 12 hours a day. Sometimes I would work 3 weeks straight. 3 weeks straight. And at the time, I would get the kids, I believe, like every other weekend. But I was always at work every other weekend. I mean, I was at work so much. I was supposed to get them on Fridays from school. I could never get them from school. Would always have a client run late. Then when the weekends came, because you sell cars, you work every weekend. And after that went on for about a year and a half, I just said I was done with it. So I made a job change and went into teaching. But I went into teaching, I took basically a hefty pay cut. About half my pay went down for a year and a half until I could get the training, the process certifications, all that you need to become a teacher, and then my income would rise back up. Well, while I was doing that, the judge literally had an attitude with me because he said that I need to find a job that allows me to see my kids but pays me the same. And I basically told the judge how I feel. Who are you to tell me what job I can and cannot work? And it literally just boiled down to that. It's about income. It really wasn't about children. And I put the judge in a little bind when I told that to him. I was like, what is more important? Do you want me to continue making this high amount of money and never see my kids, or do you want me to be able to be a father to my children? I was like, because it sounds like it's just all about money. Oh, well, no, that's not what it's about, but it is. So just keep that in mind, and stand up for yourself too. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself in there, respectfully. Don't get no contempt of court, please.
Threshold.
Well, that's why Jesse Williams went to court, was because he was an actor and he switched to Broadway.
Oh, so he wasn't making as much money on Broadway?
No. And she still was mad. He's still giving her most of his Broadway check. Like, I think he's literally giving her what he makes now, which is like significantly less than what he used to make. But it's like men can't even follow passion projects. And you can't get that time
these
back.
These women are trying to break these men.
Yeah.
They're trying to break these men.
Yeah, like you can't.
And guys out there, the reason why you want to get this straight, your child support and custody together, is because you should be able to go out there and trace your dreams. Take a risk on a business. Go out there and make the money the way you want to, and not just sit there and have to take the job at Walmart or 7-Eleven or wherever because it provides a consistent W-2. No, get your child support where it's manageable, that you feel comfortable, where you can pay it, and you also can go out there and take the risk to improve your life and your families.
Get that time back, because like you're never going to be more energized than you are today.
Yeah,
like,
of
we're
course.
all
Yeah,
only
yeah.
getting older. So if a guy wants to like take a risk and try and go out on a limb and try
Do something different, yeah.
he literally can't.
Because he's got child
Yeah,
support to pay.
yeah, and I think you can get it reduced, but you have to go to court, and God knows how long that'll take, and God knows how long if the lawyers will drain
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Even more.
Yeah, so it's.
Hey, yeah, that's another thing, guys. Like, I was doing all this, of course, pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, I mean, it went along fairly quickly. You know, I'll say about every 3 to 4 weeks, you know, another step that I had to do in getting the case through the courts, you know, went along. But once COVID hit, I think I had one of my hearings get postponed 3 times. It took 6 months just to get the one hearing done, and then when we finally did get to the hearing, it just got pushed to another judge. So yeah, it's a mess right now. It really is. But that don't change the fact that you got to go through with it to get yourself on the right track.
It's a
catch-22, man.
It's a bad system.
You're capable of working, get back to work. You can't just take a break. You have an obligation to continue bringing in this income, whatever it was established at. You can try to lower that, right? But people are going to ask, why are you lowering it? Are you taking a break? You're capable of working. But I think one of the interesting things about this calculation is it's not based on what the child needs. You know, some celebrities are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in child support.
$115K?
Yeah, and again, I think child support should be capped at $10,000, no matter what the absent parent makes. Unless you have an obscene amount of children. I mean, if you got like 10 children, then fine, but no. $10,000 would support easily 3, 4 children, private school, full wardrobe, sporting activities. I mean, it would pay for all that. So these are just great examples of how it's just a monetary system to extract funds out of fathers. And you know, the system gets paid off of this. You know, they don't cover this in this particular episode, but they make a lot of money off arrears. That is how the government makes their money, is off arrears. You know, they get a percentage off that. So it's just terrible. It really is.
For Alex Rodriguez?
Man, what is a child doing with all that money? He would have given his child a trust fund or something. Why does he need to give that money each month to
get a job?
Because Alex Rodriguez is
I wonder how much he's worth.
Almost $1 billion. That's why.
I don't know. That's crazy.
Child support. What child actually needs that much money for support is simply based on a percentage of your earning income. And so this can even be an amount sufficient to retire on for some people, right? Like if I'm paying $5,000 per month, that's actually not taxed for the other person. That's equivalent to about $100K annual income. That's what a good job is going to pay you simply for child support. And so this is why a lot of...
Wow, and it's not taxed. I didn't even think about that because he's the one paying the taxes.
Yeah.
So it's like wow.
Just this system.
So it's really
the system is flawed, guys.
You're really catching a check.
The system is flawed.
No wonder these girls are stealing condoms.
With Drake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get the right guy.
It's funny they sitting here covering this like this is something new. I was like, man, when I first went to college 20 years ago, was that 2002? They were stealing condoms then. So I mean, this ain't nothing new, man. This ain't nothing new at all. You know, for those younger guys out there who don't have any experience, when you with these chicks, take the condom with you. Make sure you flush it. I mean, even do what Drake did. But you should go to jail. You should go to jail for some years for doing something like that. Stealing a man's seed is priceless, and that's theft. That's wrong.
Get pregnant by the right guy.
And
the money will start rolling in.
You face no consequences at all. Wow.
The celebrity sports stars, football players are coached not to just get with random people because they could be taken in for a ride on child support, which will last typically until the child reaches age 18 or so. And I also wanted to note, at least for my situation, it was not sufficient for me to say I have a separate business. I have a separate LLC company for my YouTube stuff, for my other businesses. People just imputed all of that income on me. They didn't separate it. And they even took a look at some of my business expenses, like travel expenses, and they said, you know what, this is all going to be not considered, and they're going to consider that part of income as well. They wouldn't accept that as business expenses. They looked at rent that my business would be paying to my parents, right? Like, I rent space for my parents. They said, you know what, we don't believe it. You're just living with your parents. So even that was not considered a legitimate business expense. So they just imputed a lot of income on me. So the courts can be ruthless. Maybe in my situation, people just said, hey, that's a YouTube channel. That's not a real business. YouTube isn't a real business. Therefore, we're not going to allow any of those business separations or protections. Maybe I didn't hire a good enough lawyer, but in either case, the money has never been important for me. I just wanted to get to a point where my ex-wife would be somewhat appeased and just get to some settlement. Any agreement is fine by me. I'm perfectly happy having a cup of coffee at home playing video games, so it wouldn't change my life one way or another. And for those people who are saying I should get into this huge legal court battle and fight for my rights, I just don't believe that a legal victory is a personal victory, right? Like legally, you can win whatever you want, but if it leaves everybody just bitter and angry, I would not consider that a victory necessarily. And last of all, well, it is just money after all. And you know what they say, if your only problem is money, then you don't have a problem. But that'll do for me. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Let me know your thoughts.
All right, so that's it, guys. Please make sure to subscribe to TechLead. He has a lot of good information. Very smart guy. The last thing, though, I'll say about the video is that he's in California. California has a lot going on over there. They're in debt. They have major taxes. I mean, their taxes is, I think, the highest in the country. Okay? And then they have a lot of people leaving the state as well. Here in Florida, as bad as child support is, I can't say with them court systems, they actually want that stuff to get done. They don't want to pay for the children. On special assistance or anything else like that. So they have a lot of support there in family court. When I look around and I compare it to other states or even other counties in Florida. So that is a bit of good news, is that there is support and information and education for you to get this done without a lawyer in our current court system here in Hillsborough County. But with that being said, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. I really want to grow this channel to get this information out to more men, and I can't do it without y'all. So until next time, thank you, and look out for the next video.